The only problem is that it's in my page and I can't see it. Welcome, everybody. Good evening. This is the Muffin Madrina. I am so happy to see you this evening. So if you're joining us for the first time, just make sure to grab a cup of coffee or some tea. You guys like my new little mug that says loads of luck with the Shamrock truck. And we're going to be talking tonight about friendships. Make sure to hit like and make sure to share with your friends and family. So I'm excited because tonight on the Muffin Madrina, we're going to be talking about an important topic, and it deals with friendship. And it's important for you to know that today, my guest speaker is actually going to be my BFF, my best friend, Adaris Rivera. But before we go on to that, I wanted to let you guys know, don't forget that Saturday morning, we're going to be doing the green smoothie muffin. So make sure you join us on the FB Live on the Muffin Madrina at 8:30 in the morning. That way we can try these good, healthy green smoothie muffins. And we're going to be switching the Muffin Madrina moments to happen bi-weekly. So next week on Thursday, we won't be showing, but we'll be back on April 1st. So I want you to make sure that you mark your calendars and join us at that time. Now, going back to what I said about friendship, our world has really diluted the meaning of friendship. The reality is there's nothing like having a friend, especially through everything of your journey, maybe good times or maybe bad times. And so this evening, I have the pleasure of introducing to you my best friend, Adaris Rivera. Wave, Adaris. And one of the things that I need to let you know is how we became friends. So what makes us connected of the Muffin Madrina is I happen to be the madrina of her youngest son. And we met back in 2011 at church on a Mother's Day. But I'm going to let Adaris kind of explain a little bit how we met, and then we're going to start asking some questions. So Adaris, why don't you go ahead and share and let people know what happened in that May of 2011?
Hi, everybody. I'm really happy to be here today, sharing about our story, how we came about to be friends, and not only friends, BFS. My husband was a worship leader. We met in church, like she said before, and I remember it was a Mother's Day, maybe 10, 11 years ago. And I was telling my husband that I wanted to go to church, and he was like, no, he wasn't so happy about going to a new church. And I just went by myself with the boys. I have two boys. I have Caleb, which is 16, and I have David, which is Glory V. Godson, which is 13. And we went to church, and the church that God brought me to, Glory V, was at the door. So I went in. She was her bubbly self. It's like, hello, welcome to the church. And from there on, I think there was completely like, we just click in many ways. That was the first time that we met. Yeah. So that was the first time that we met. And 11 years later, right?
Yes. So we met. I remember you coming in and I greeted you. One of the things I think that helped us connect is because I'm a mother of two boys as well. You're a mom of two boys. They happen, even though my boys are a little bit older than yours, but they share the same age difference in between. So your boys are about 4 years apart, so are mine. And, I think we just kind of hit it off and started talking. And I don't know what, I think you ended up inviting me to that summer after a couple of, getting together to a birthday party. It was David's birthday party. By that time, I became the official godmother. And the funny thing is that, even though we have similarities, we have also not similar things. Adaris is very woodsy type of person. I mean, I like to go out and go out hiking now and everything. But Adaris, she grew up in Puerto Rico in El Campo. So she is accustomed to all these things. So I remember trying to drive to this birthday party. And I'm thinking to myself, where in the world, or somewhere really far, all I kept seeing was trees and trees in the north part of Georgia. And lo and behold, it was some woodsy cabin, and there's a lake and all these other things. But I think that scenario kind of connected us because you do certain things that I normally wouldn't do, and I do certain things that you normally do. So we kind of help each other out in that area. So tell me a little bit about what nowadays. Friendships are hard to come by sometimes for some people. Friendships get tested. And why don't this month is the women's international month, and a lot about her story. So why don't you share people a little bit about your story, because I know you have your own story of things that you've gone through, and how as friends we kind of dealt with those things.
Yeah. I will say that when your godmother from your marriage was talking last Thursday,
Mm-hmm.
that resembles, she mentioned the type of friendship and the different type of friendships that we have. And I
Yeah.
was just thinking about it, and I'm like, it's true. You have your friends, or you have your best friends, and you got your best friend forever. Like we could say we are.
Mm-hmm.
And a friend, you have come really, really far with me. If I'm going to tell my testimony, I'm just going to say a little bit about it. Um, have
Okay.
you, and I know you have heard this song, Glory V, because I usually put it on, but I just want you to imagine everybody that is out there. Mendiza song, it's called Overcomer.
Yep.
And it says, you are an overcomer. Stay in the fight until the final round. You're not going under because God is holding you right now. You might be
Mm-hmm.
down for a moment, feeling like you're hopeless. That's why he reminds you that he's an overcomer. And you
Yep.
may ask yourself, Alaris, what have you overcome, right, Glory V?
Yes.
I have overcome a lot in my 43 years that I've been in this earth. There's a quote very dear to my heart that says, "You never know how strong you are until being strong is the only thing you have." So
That's
I
true.
have overcome cancer 3 times in the past 13 years, a
Mm-hmm.
miscarriage of 4 babies. Yes, 4 in one pregnancy. A fall that broke my back, and I lost my job. I lost that a job that I love. I lost it because of my fall. My husband betrayal early on in the marriage, and lastly, I will say a sexual assault. But yet, the most challenging thing that I have overcome during this process is the depression that came after every situation.
Yep.
And I think that that's really say a little bit of my testimony right there.
Yes. Yes. And I do recall some of the things that you mentioned. I was in that part of your experience. Certain things you already had experienced before we became friends, but then there's other things that I would had the opportunity to walk through. And some people probably think, well, Gorby, why would you refer her scenarios that she just described to be an opportunity? Sometimes we don't understand the importance of friendship. Like I mentioned earlier, sometimes the name of friendship or the title gets diluted because we become a society that it's all about us, myself, self-love. And when you go to scripture, one of the main commandments is to love God above all things, but then it talks about to love your neighbor just as you love yourself. And so to love others is the same thing in your friendships as friends. You love the person through the bad and the good. And there's been examples that we see throughout life of people who have had that kind of friendship. They mention Jonathan and David in the Bible. We know of celebrities or famous people that are close friends that you probably could just name off. And sometimes your friends' situations could be very difficult. You know, like I mentioned earlier, Adaris and I had certain similarities. We grew up in the same type of church when we were kids. We come from a Pentecostal background. We knew what it is. And back in those days, there were certain things you just could not do. You couldn't go to the movie theater. You had to dress a certain way. You had to do a certain way. What you were kind of taught about the whole thing about, you kind of keep things in your family. You don't express things out. And so even though that it may seem a little negative, but there was things that we learned. And so we were able to connect in those areas. And And hearing her story and some of the things that I went through with her, I realized that I also had the opportunity to grow because I actually was challenged. I had to be a friend in where I needed to learn how to listen. I had to be a friend that tried to give advice when I could, but there was other times that I was like, I don't know what to tell her. I don't even know how to help her. I mean, I didn't know to say, hey, do you want to have a drive? Let's go shopping or let's go somewhere. Do you remember that, Adaris, that trip we took to Dalamaga?
Yes, I remember a lot of things. And one of the things that I would say, I wouldn't have made it this far if it wasn't because of you. First of all, God,
Yes.
and then you as my, I think you're my only BFF. I'm really, we don't have that many people. And some of my other friends, because you were there for think lo bueno y lo malo. I don't even know how
See,
to say that.
the good and the
Um,
bad and the ugly.
the good and bad. Like you were there in my losses when you were there. You were
Mhm.
there when I needed a friend to be in the hospital with me while the boys or one of them were in the
Mhm.
hospital. I remember this past the sexual assault. I think it was the most traumatic and the most hard for both of us. But I remember
Mhm.
that you made every day you called me to make sure that I was okay and I was safe because one of the things it was that I tried to commit suicide. You may think that is, but you have this ministry and you're a strong woman and all this stuff, but at the end of the day, I was going through something in my brain that I couldn't control.
Yeah.
And Glory B was there for me. She took me to the hospital. She took me to my appointments when I couldn't go. If I was sick, she was the one driving me. I remember she would call me. She's like, just come on, I'm gonna pick you up. We're just gonna do this. And when you have PTSD, I couldn't even leave my house, and you were dragging me out. Like you were always there for me.
Mhm.
When I needed a surgery, when I fell, have my surgery, you were there. When I have to have something done, I said, Glory, I need to do this. You're like,
Mhm.
okay, let me figure this out. Let me change some stuff around. I'll do it. There was no putting yourself first. You always gave me the time to put myself first. And I think that's what makes our relationship different is because we have taken time to
Yeah.
grow. Like we grow a plan. And you say that I like everything outside. Yes. Yo soy from El Yunque and I like doing plans. So this is like our friendship became we put little vitamins in and we take time to each other. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
And it
And
has
it's true.
blossomed to a beautiful friendship.
Yes, it definitely has blossomed into a beautiful friendship. And it's kind of funny that you mentioned those things of what I did because I'll be honest, even though yes, you said that there were things that I did, but it's also reciprocal because there's things that you did that helped me as well. You're always there to listen. When I get upset or just need to bounce ideas. That's the good thing about it. Aside from my husband, my daddy's will listen to all my crazy ideas, and she'll say, "Okay, how do you need me to help you?" Or I'll try to help her on something as well. When we started our ministry at church, my husband and I back in 2015, Adaris was the first one there to like help us out. She showed up when we had activities. She's always there. One thing that Darius does awesome that I do not have the gifting is awesome food cooking. And she loves it. She loves to, I'm more of the planner and the delegator. But
Yes.
she and she's more of the okay, let's go into the kitchen and get things done. But one of the things that Adaris in our relationship that also kind of helped me just learn different things. Like I mentioned earlier, we grew up in the church. We knew about certain things. We knew about missions. We knew about giving. But I never got to experience going into the mission field, but Adaris did. And I remember the time that Adaris said, "Oh, Glory V, I want to go be part of, go to Honduras and go to the Dominican Republic on a mission trip." She got involved in Samaritan's Purse, Operation Christmas Box. And I said, okay, well, let's figure this out and I'll help you out. But the funny thing is, I didn't go with her to the trip. I was sort of the supporter back over here doing things. So, Adaris, can you tell us what was it that? But before you do that, I wanted to share going back to what she explained and mentioned about me taking her to the hospital. When she went through that very dark period of her life, it was really, really hard for me because I literally did not know how to help her. I could have read different health books, like how to be supportive and everything. But when you're with your friend and there's just certain things, it's really hard. I didn't want to judge her, but I felt frustrated at the same time because I just felt like, I felt like I wanted to just shake her and be like, come on, you got to get out of this. But I needed to be patient and just be there for her and just listen and just be available. And obviously pray for her and look out for the kids and everything. But I remember, when I took her to the hospital and we were in the hospital and just seeing her and they had put her in this room and they do this 24-hour watch. I was just like, it really was really hard for me, and which is something that I didn't experience at all with anybody else. But at the same time, it helped me grow because now I knew, if I ever dealt with that with somebody else, I knew how to understand that process. So if this is your first time joining with the Muffin Madrina moment, we are actually currently talking about our friendship. I happen to be the madrina of Adaris's younger son. And just to let you know, in our next segment, we're going to go a little deeper dive on what it means about mental health and counseling with an actual therapist who will be joining us on our next session. And the funny thing is, I happen to be madrina of her daughter. So it's all in the family, huh? But going back, Adaris, tell us about your mission. Like, how did that come about? Like, what led you into doing missions?
Before I do that, let me just say it was really hard for me when we go through a process. Like you said, we come from the same background, right? And we go through the mental health issue. The mental health is like, and people just pray, right? Be anxious for nothing. And I remember people will just come at me and tell me, you just need to pray. You just need to be anxious. But we forget, and that's why mental health have become one of my passions. It's like we forget that, it's an illness, and also our ethnicity, being Hispanic until today. My grandmother would say, don't give me those pills. Those are for crazy people. No, no cosa de loca. So, acknowledging that I have that problem, I remember that it took 2 years to kind of to kind of came out completely, with that particular journey. Mm-hmm. But when I found somebody that could relate to me, to what I was going through, look, Hispanic people, we don't see mental health very much. Mm-hmm. And then, if you come from our believer background, it's like usually you don't see it. You usually it's like just pray about it, fast about it. But it's like my Christian belief and my background wasn't enough. So it was really hard. Internally, I was fighting with myself like you were fighting and saying, I would just say that to myself. I would say, come on, Adaris, you're strong. You have dealt with cancer. You haven't died. You have come up. Let's do this. You have passed through all this before. Do this. But it was a hard time in my life. But I will say through my journey, and I have always, and she knows, call it my journey because we are always in this journey that God put us in our life, is that I have learned in one of those instances, God brought Operation Christmas Child and a lady named Pam. And I remember Pam and I were really different, but
and I remember Pam.
Yeah, I love her to death. She was somebody that God used in my life to show me that I was not only the cook. I know that I cook good, but I always thought that was my calling. I was going to be the cook of the church and I was going to feed people. And she saw something else in me. So she invited me to Dominican Republic on my first mission trip. And she was like, God is going to supply. And I remember I wasn't working because we only have one job. We have the kids. It's like, I can't go. I have no money. But God made it possible to the money come in. I remember the passport came within a month. Everything started coming in.
Yeah, I remember that.
I'm there in Dominican Republic doing my first mission trip. I will tell you that changed my life forever. And that's when I knew that was my calling. And to this day, I will say I'm happy, but when I'm doing something for missions or where I'm putting something together and Glory can testify of that, I have a different level of joy in my heart.
Yes.
Because that is my passion. If it was because of me, I'm like telling Josue, let's go to Ecuador, let's go to Honduras, vámonos. Tú, paramédico, y yo podemos hacer algo. But, Josue, no. He will not. He's like, I'll stay here. But yes, that's where my passion came up about missions.
So, the interesting thing that what happened was that as a result of your passion, it actually kind of became contagious. The passion just went through to your younger son, which is my godson, David. And so we started doing planning David's OCC packing parties. And I remember that I think we did like a whole community block party in one of the subdivisions, and where everybody got to come and celebrate and brought in different materials. I think another year we did it at Cultivadores church when we were leading, my husband and I, and then we hosted the Davis packing party, and he actually came out on the video. The cameras were following him everywhere, to the point that I remember, as the godmother, and we always been together, we drove him all the way to get an award that he received. And he came out in a Mundo Hispánico, and it was just so great, that process, that now as a teen, he's planning to do something else as well. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about that, Adadis, as far as how you saw what you were going through and what you were becoming passionate, and how it was trickling over to your son?
So when I did my first mission, I have been to Dominican Republic and Honduras. On my first mission trip, I love it. Then I took Caleb, my oldest. We went to Honduras to orphanages of girls, and then we did like a soccer camp. He loved it also. But David have also a calling, and God has spoke to both of my kids' sides, especially David. So he come this week, I would say this week, last week, and I said he got paid for something that he did. And he said, I'm going to return the money, Mom, because I don't need it. I have everything. And I'm like, no, you're not. I'm here fighting. He's like, you don't need to return the money. Why don't you do this? And he's like, well, yes, can I just help? So we have helped this mission in Chuitago, Ecuador. They're indigenous kids in Ecuador. And today, while I'm here with you guys, he paid for a dinner for 50 kids, a cake, and some candy for those kids to have a special birthday or a special, food event. And
yes,
from there,
like a celebration.
Exactly. And from there, he told me, Mom, I just want to make something lasting. So here we are, Gorby and I, trying to become part of my ministry, Love in Action Worldwide, bringing something else. And he wants to help those kids celebrate their birthday every month. So we're gonna do every month on the last Thursday of the month. The kids that their birthday month is, they're gonna be celebrated, which they have never done that before. And hopefully we get to go after this pandemic to Ecuador and visit my missionary friends over there in Chuitago.
Yep. That's awesome. So, it's kind of interesting, because I remember when you told me that, I was like, oh, yes, we could do all these things and, help David get this through. But one of the things, if you're just joining the Muffin Madrina moment, I'm trying to see some of the comments that some of our friends have joined and put on there. And I want to thank each one of you for commenting, and wanted to see if there was anybody who had a question that would like to ask us. You're welcome to ask us questions. And we're going to try our best to look at the comments and respond back to you. But, I want to say hello. I see a couple of people on there. My madrina from Massachusetts. My sisters are on here. I believe my mom is on here. We have some co-workers that are joining us that are also friends. Thank you for joining us. So one of the things, going back to friendship, is that, friendship takes time. Friendship, you're not going to compare it wholly to a marriage, but friendship also takes time to build and do. And one of the things that you mentioned, that you reiterated from what my madrina said last time we were on the Madrina Moment, was about, there's people that come for a lifetime. There's people that come for a certain amount of season, and there's people that just come for a short period of time. And, I truly believe that our thus far has been a pretty long season. But there was a point in time we actually kind of said we gave a break to each other. um, and I think, can you talk a little bit about what exactly or how that went about? I think I must have said something or did something, or I can't remember the whole thing, but I know you were going through a process, and I decided it was time for me. Like, I need to back out and give her space. But do you want to talk a little bit about that, Adaris?
But remember, everything happened for a reason.
Yeah.
I always see everything that it, and the Bible said that there's not even a leaf doesn't fall out of the tree without God,
Mm-hmm.
knowing about it. And
Yes.
that was the moment that I felt and broke my back, and I was in my bed for like 4 or 5 months. And that was a silence, not only you, but the church that I was going to, some of my friends, it was completely silent. It was just my husband and I and
Mm-hmm.
God. So he took me to that moment, and I really don't remember why. I just
I
know that
know.
that moment, it was a moment that God used to pour on me what
Mm-hmm.
I needed. And
Mm-hmm.
then all of a sudden, that's what is important in a BFF. It's like we reconnect. It's like, hey, how you doing? I haven't seen you in a while. And you're just like, well, I've been here. And then, oh, come over. Because we,
Yeah.
at that time, we used to live very close. So we were like in each other houses. But that's what a friend is about, that we could just pick up whatever we left off. And I really don't remember what
Exactly.
it was.
Yeah,
I just know
I'll
that it
be
was
honest, I
God.
don't remember either. I do remember, I know that you had gotten her. I think I visited you and everything, but I'm not sure if something was happening. I wasn't sure. And I think I realized that you needed that space or something, because think we were communicating, but we were not communicating like our normal time. So I think I said, you know what, let's pause, and which actually helped. And I think that's important. I think when you are genuine friends, you can pick up anywhere. You can talk about things. You know, it just happens. And I know that you have a lot of friends that I know that are friends with you. I have people that I know that and so there's also that topic about, well, because she's friends with everybody else, I need to be friends with them also. And it's not like that, because and I'll give a prime example. Our husbands know each other, and we'll say, yeah, they know each other, they're acquaintances and stuff like that, but they're not friends like we're friends. And I think that's kind of unique. And I respect that of our husbands, because they kind of give us our space, but it's not something that they feel obligated, like, oh, now Josue has to go hang out with Frank and Frank has to hang out with Josue, because it's not like that. So everybody gets a different kind of connection. And I think that's important. So if you're out there and you're thinking like, well, if you feel that you don't have a friend, or if you don't feel that you have the type of friendship that we have, and where we're able to connect with each other, sometimes all you need to do is kind of be the first person to step up, and talk to someone and create those relationships. Because there have been times where people become withdrawn, and they say, well, I don't have friends, or nobody understands me, or no, there's nobody here to hang out with, or go do girl things or guy things or things like that. And in that season where we were kind of quiet, and even now, with this whole pandemic, we find things to do on our own, kind of thing. So I think that's what's unique about us as well. We know how to be separate from each other and be respectful about the space, and not become like high schoolers, or, oh, she's not hanging out with such and such person. No, we're grown women, so we're not going to be worrying about those kind of things. And I think that's important. So when you're young, you become very impressionable. And they always tell you that phrase, dime con quién anda y te diré quién eres, which means in English, tell me who you hang out with and I'll tell you who you really are. And so it's important that if you do have children, that you socialize them early, so they can build relationships and learn how to create those relationships, so that as they become teenagers and then become young adults and then become adults, they have those opportunities, and you don't want people to feel secluded or anything like that. And the other thing is, if you do know that somebody's going through something, similar to what Adaris has said, it's okay if you don't know how to help. And it's okay to, be honest with them. But the important thing is the communication. I think communication is key when it comes to
Exactly.
friendship.
Yes.
What do you think, Adaris?
I was going to bring that up. Is the communication and the expectation. Do not expect anything. Your
Yeah.
friendship is, our friendship is not based off expectations because
Hmm.
we're so different. And when you have a friendship that you expect something from somebody, well, she should have sent me something because I was sick and she didn't. That's like petty stuff. What is deep down? Um, I remember my family passed COVID this, November, all of us. And I have friends, and she said, I have a lot of friends. I'm very nice and friends of a friendly
Oh
person.
boy, here we go.
I love everybody. I don't take serious. Life is too short to take it serious. I
Yeah.
think I went through my journey, and that's one of the things that I
Yeah.
learned is do not take everything so serious because you
Yeah.
could be
And that's
here
the
right
difference between
now.
you and I. That's the difference between you and I. I'm a little bit more reserved, even
Yes.
though I could be loud and
Yes.
fun, and I do talk to everybody, but I'm more cautious type person, I think, where Darius will just keep going.
I've
But go
got a
ahead.
friend next door, my neighbor, whoever I talk to. Hey, you want to be my friend? Yes, to everybody.
But yes, you were saying
But
about the
yes,
other
just
part.
the other part is that you need to make sure, you need to know that you're here right now. That's what I learned through my process, through my journey. you know
Mhm.
Dealing with cancer so many times in my life, and still until today I still have to go and get my infusions every 6 weeks. And she knows,
Mhm.
today I look gorgeous, but I'm not feeling this good. I'm just saying. But we're here today, so take today, because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So if we take our friendship so seriously, we're going to lose people that are supposed to be there.
Yeah.
When something happened to somebody and that she's your friend, be there for them. Even if you haven't been there for months, just be there. Be there.
Mhm.
That's all. I have people that in my process, when I went last through the sexual assault, I just needed
Mhm.
people to be there to tell
Yeah.
me, I'm here for you. What do you need? Do you need me to take you someplace? So that's not my part. Don't take the friendship part seriously, that you're going to lose everybody in your circle, because the more that you lose, your circle becomes smaller, and
Yeah.
you're going to be alone. And
Yeah.
that's when the devil get in and try to hit
Mhm.
you every way possible, because you don't have nobody else that could pray with you. Because I could say, Glory be, I feel this way and I need prayer. The first person that I call, Glory be, I need prayer. And then I call my prayer partners, and then I call this person. But if you don't have
Mhm.
nobody else, what is the devil going to use? He's going to make you feel
Yes.
bad. He's going to make you feel like, all this other stuff that you don't want. So you want to grow with your friendship.
Yes, that is true. So if you're just joining the Muffin Madrina moment, I want to say welcome. We've been talking today about friendships, about our friendship. Adaris happens to be my best friend, and also I happen to be the Madrina of her youngest son. So if this has been inspiring for you, please make sure to put some comments on the chat. I'm not sure, I don't see anybody has asked questions. I do see some comments that people have done, and thank you for those comments. One of the things that I mentioned earlier, if you didn't get to listen, is that we're going to be addressing in our next Mother Madrina moment, the importance of getting counseling, the importance of addressing mental health. And we're actually going to be speaking with a licensed therapist who's going to be our guest. And I can't wait for that, because at the same time, I happen to be the Madrina of one of her kids. So that's kind of cool. Now, just as a way of wrapping up, is there any other areas that you would like to mention, Adaris, or share with us in regards to your experience between our friendship, or just in general about the topic of friendship?
I think we have to talk about friendship. Our friendship is important. You just need to have friends. You need to take care of your friends, like you grow your roses. Or if you like herbs, like you're in your herb garden, you love them, you sing to your plants and all that. You have to nurture, no, like, ¿cómo se dice
Nurture.
eso? Oh my God,
Nurture,
nurture
nurture, nurture.
your friendships. So because those are the ones that got used to hold you down and make you stronger. If it wasn't because of my friends, if it wasn't
Uh-huh.
because of Glory B and Pastor Alba, because I consider my friend, and them being there to my support, I'm if it wasn't because of them, I wouldn't be here to tell you the truth. I would
Mm-hmm.
not be here. So just remember, you're here one day, just take this day, look at your book, look at your phone, see who you haven't talked to in a while, send them
Yep.
a text. I'm thinking about you. Do you want to just go out? Do you want to take a walk? Look, just something. Or just say, I've been thinking about you, and see what it could come up out of that.
Yes. I agree with that. So we actually have a question. Cynthia is asking us, what has been one of them funniest moments that we've had? So funny you can hardly breathe. Oh wow. Um,
Including me. So yours.
I'm trying to remember, like, which has been one of. We crack up all the time. I mean, we
Yes.
cry, we argue, we cry, and we laugh.
Yes.
Seriously. For those of you out there, I'm just trying to think. I mean, I know when we went to Dahlonega, we were checking out shops. I laugh a lot because it's kind of interesting how we bounce off of each other when we're having conversation with people. And like Adaris goes into this whole tangent and I'm trying to stay focused on something else. And I keep telling the person, and I go back to bring us back to the topic when we're talking to somebody. And I just crack up all the time. But I'm trying to think, wasn't there a time when we did something and you fell? Where were we? We did something that it was like the most oddest thing. And we just were cracking up like crazy.
I remember that we had so much fun, and we have fun everywhere we go. Like we could pick up anything. She will pick me up. Like we do this. Let's go. I, I don't. I remember in Dahlonega, I'm not a drinker, and I remember I have never tasted wine, and that was like I think it's a wine country. And when they brought,
yeah,
like,
we went to the vineyards. Yeah, we were near the vineyards.
Yes, the vineyard. I was just laughing so hard because he's trying to tell me, and we were like trying to taste, and he's like, "Just do this. You're just gonna put it in your mouth, and then you're just gonna." And we were like just cracking
Great.
up.
Now you said you're gonna think I'm a bad influence. No, but she, the funny thing is she never had a wine tasting, so we went to something kind of formal, and where they had a little bit of wine, a little bit of cheese and crackers, and it was the most funniest thing. And then I left her going to go look at boots and things while she was still there by herself.
Do that. Yes, you do that. Yes.
Yeah, because that's one thing that happens when Adaris gets into something and I'm already done with. I start wandering, and so I go to other parts of where we are, and so then I come back and I'm like, "Ya terminaste."
Yep.
So
I'm passionate about my stuff. That's the thing. I become very passionate about something, so that.
Oh yes. Yes.
And then you have a lot of squirrels. I also have a lot of squirrels. It's like I could be talking about something and look, a squirrel happened. Let me talk about something else. So we always joke in the car when we're together. If she started saying something and then I stop and say something else, it's like, there go a squirrel. Because
so if you guys don't know the terminology of squirrels, is basically you're like all over the place. You're running back and forth.
Yep.
And that's what we tend to do. We do that in our conversations or what we're doing. And so, it's kind of funny because I observe people trying to catch up sometimes when we're talking or doing something. And they're like, what in the world? I mean, did you just say this in a full sentence? But I think that's what makes us understand each other. We understand each other when who gets upset. Like, I think I'm the one that gets more upset or more estricta. I think that's part of my dad military upbringing, but and
I'm the one that is
more
I'm the one that is always telling you, Lurvy, breathe. Even I texted, breathe. If I could text it, breathe, yes. And I open my eyes or something, she knows already. My text is like, and I'll be like, and she's like, okay, she knows that she needs to breathe. Come down. Yes. That's good. We got this.
So we just have a few more minutes. I see people laughing with us. I'm not quite sure if I see another question, but I want to thank everybody for joining us. Like I said, we're going to be doing this bi-weekly now, moving forward. So not next Thursday, April 1st, we'll be back here with a licensed therapist. Her name is Jessica Ruiz. She's licensed with the state of Georgia. She has her own business as well, but I happen to be also the madrina of her young child. And so we're going to be talking about why it's important, aside from having your friends, aside from having your spouse, or aside from having your family, the importance of taking care of and seeing somebody who's a professional. But to wrap it up by that is what's the last thing you want to say before we get off this live?
Yes, there's a lot of things I want to say, but I want to say, remember my Love in Action. Love in Action, look for it on the page. Love in
Yes.
Action is my ministry. And this month, starting next month, we're going to start helping, like I said before, a group in
Mhm.
Ecuador of girls that have been sexual abused from the ages from 9 all the way up to 16. And it
Yes.
go, and the thing is that I love this, but I also ask for prayer because
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
need to be able to, I'm relatable to them, but I also be able to speak to them from a 9-year-old perspective, also from a 15-year-old perspective.
That is true.
And please pray for us. If you want to go to the page, we started this together. Gloria V and I, like, let's put all this stuff together
Two peas in
next
a
month.
pod.
Yes, yes. Next month we're gonna start giving book bags. So if
Yep.
you want to do a donation, we have come up with an idea of having book bag for them with all the
Mhm.
necessities that they need, even a pencil and a notebook, because over there where they have it, it's like a jail. It's like it's literally how a jail will be. That's how it is. It's
Yeah.
a house, and they go to school there, and then they get locked up afterwards until the next day.
Mhm.
So just
Yep.
help me pray and go to Hola. No, it's that ministry is called Hola Beautiful, but it's under
Love and Action
Love in
Worldwide.
Action Worldwide. Yes.
So yes, so we will definitely post the link to Love in Action Worldwide on the Muffin Madrina. So if you're interested, you can support that cause that Darius is very actively in. We will be supporting it as well. I want to remind you that on Saturday at 8:30 in the morning, we will be making some green smoothie muffins. So make sure to join us. We do that every Saturday at 8:30 in the morning, just trying out healthy muffins. Because you know how I mentioned, we try to be healthy in 2021. And Muffin Madrina Moment will be bi-weekly. And one thing that we are going to kick off next month is actually a Muffin Madrina book club. Now that's going to be a little bit different. And our first book is actually going to be about friendships, something that Darius has shared with me. And I started looking into it by Dr. Townsend. And that's going to be our first book club book that we're going to be reading. So if you're interested, please make sure we'll be posting all the information over the weekend on the Muffin Madrina page, on Facebook, and also Instagram. And that's actually going to be a private group through Zoom. And so if you want to be part of the book club, make sure to sign up once we have everything on there. So I'm looking forward to seeing some of you guys participate in as well. So once again, thank you for joining the Muffin Madrina Moment. Have a great evening. Stay safe and hope to see you Saturday morning. Take care.